chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' Crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to a very special episode of Straight Chilling. It is definitely festival season, and we're going to be talking about a whole host of movies that we were fortunate enough to see at BFON this year. Before we get into it, though, let me introduce everyone on the show. You got your boy Bob, of course. Next up, calling in from Washington, D.C., Randeezy.
How we doing, buddy? Good to hear from you. Good to talk festival season. This is second or third festival that we've participated in. Third this year. That's great.
Fourth? Fifth?
Oh my god, there's so many.
Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, 안녕하세요, 여러분. It's your boy Soju. It's three boys. We did.
Consomneda, mon ami.
Nay. Yeah, this we did Overlook, Chattanooga, and now here we are at BFON.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We're just starting
Seems like
Fantasia.
just yesterday I had time to kill.
Well, you're killing it.
Months ago.
You're killing it, Randy. Right now. Honestly, we are fortunate to be able to attend these things and see all these awesome movies and meet all these cool people along the way. And Juice, this festival it happens in Korea annually. I don't know how long it's been going, but it's been quite a while, right?
This is the 28th, I want to say.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
20. Damn, yeah.
Yeah, so for a while.
Almost 3 decades.
Nice, good idea.
And you yourself did attend in person. Randy and I caught a couple screeners, but that's about all we could do. You saw way more than we did, so why don't you kind of walk us through it, man? What all did you get to see and do?
Yeah, so actually it kicked off just 2 weeks ago from today, which is crazy to think about. It just flew by. But it was 4th of July, which was nice because I got to go to the opening ceremony, and the opening film was Love Lies Bleeding, which has been out a little bit in the States, but it was the Asian premiere. So I finally got to watch it. And also too, at the opening ceremony, but also at the screening and everything, was the actress who's in that. I'm going to fuck up her name. Anna Bershknov.
Yeah, nailed it.
So, yeah. She was there though. And she,
Baryshnikov, I think.
Baryshnikov, thank you, Bob. She kind of talked about the film, and so yeah, it was cool, and I'm glad I finally got to watch that and kind of hear her speak about it. Also got to meet Michael Felker there at the, which is director we'll be talking about a little bit later, but which was nice because it was 4th of July, and he's American, so we got to hang out and kind of drink together and. Yeah, there you go. And so it was a good opening ceremony, opening film and everything. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. The next thing I watched was a Korean film. It's called The Tenants. And I happened to notice Michael had mentioned too that he had seen it maybe at Overlook, and we're heading into Fantasia now. And I saw it's featured there as well. So this is not just something that's going to be exclusive to Korea. It seems like it's getting pushed out everywhere, but it's from a director, a woman director named Yoon Eun-kyung, and it's very Lynch, David Lynch inspired. It's black and white, and it's set in this kind of
he invented that.
Yeah. It's set in a kind of modern city, but it's supposed to be futuristic. There's little technology tweaks that I don't know, lets you know it's kind of futuristic, but it essentially is about this guy who already lives in a kind of small apartment it's essentially like one small bedroom, one small kitchen, living room, and then a bathroom. And here he like sub rents out his bathroom to this like really weird couple. Nice. And they then sublet out the attic space, which is non-existent, to this mysterious person that's like never seen. And so this guy's like super paranoid about somebody living above him and in his bathroom, and it's like super weird and creepy. It was a kooky film. I liked it a lot though. It's very interesting style. And but yeah, so that was called The Tenants.
That's
really
a lot
cool.
of people
in this house.
Yeah, in this tiny house.
Nice setup, Randy. Self setup.
I know. Sometimes I'm too slow to get him in the moment, so I just have to alley-oop
wait
myself.
for it. Alley-oop. I saw a film that you guys saw at Overlook, so I was excited to finally catch it. And this is one people should be anticipating for the year, I would assume. And it's called Azrael. It has no dialogue in it, which it does have a little bit of dialogue. There's one person. There's one person that speaks for like 2 minutes in the film, but other than that, it was like an action horror kind of.
Yeah, kind of a post-apocalyptic sort of thing. Samara Weaving really carries the film. She's the lead, directed by E.L. Katz.
Love E.L. Katz,
who directed Cheap Thrills, which is just one of my favorite movies, like of all time, really.
I don't know if it's quite that high for me, but I really love that movie, and this one did not disappoint, man.
Yeah, I think people will dig on this one.
Written by Simon Barrett too, I believe. So it's got a good pedigree behind it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, to have a film driven by like no dialogue, but it's easy to fall into the world that they create, and the action sequences were a lot of fun. But it's also got like an interesting story going on too. So yeah. Killer
it's
ending.
A Quiet Place done proper.
Yeah. Be on the lookout for that. I don't think it's been picked up yet. Not that I'm aware of, anyways.
Not that I'm aware of.
It will be.
I mean, it's gotta be.
It will be.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw a movie that a lot of people were eager to see, but I mean, I don't really know. It's from Kazakhstan, so I just sometimes like movies like this like really surprise you and are really impressive, but kind of sometimes disappear. I did see that it's also featured at Fantasia, so I'm hoping that somebody can kind of pick it up. But it's called Steppenwolf, and it's Michael was kind of like describing it as a cowboy film done for like the kind of modern world, which is like a war-torn country. This kind of like war-torn country where it's just like factions of power exist, and like there's this anti-hero kind of going throughout the land, and the whole premise is there's this mother it's very tragic. She's like looking for her child, and she's in such a state, like such a frantic state that like she can barely communicate, and she's like quite frantic, but she's looking for her young child, and this guy kind of gets roped into kind of like hunting down this child to like maybe kind of save it, and it goes to just like some really dark places, but it's very like action driven kind of in a way. It's like a lot of violence, but yeah, it's like really sad too. So, but it was really good. It's a really good film.
How many times do they play Born to Be Wild in this film?
Well, they play the Kazakhstan version.
How interesting. Oh man,
we're all very familiar with that.
European style.
Born to Be Kazakh, I think is the version. But yeah, it was a really good movie. Next up, I saw Michael's film again. We had seen it, I believe, at Overlook, and it's called Things Will Be Different. And I got to record a Q&A that he did for that film, and we'll be releasing that later on when his like film is finally going to be coming out. So I'll put that up on our YouTube eventually. But yeah, this is like I think this is not necessarily horror. It's more like sci-fi time travel kind of drama.
Timey-wimey shit.
Yeah, kind of sci-fi.
But with an interesting sort of like angle on it for sure. Like I don't think I've seen that exact angle done. Like it's very, very its own thing.
Yeah, it is. And it really, it's one of those movies that's like, it's not necessarily concerned with the time travel. Like it's definitely there and it's very important, but it's not really like the focal point, I guess I would say.
Yeah, the characters still drive the plot on that one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Things will be different. It did get picked up at BFON, right?
That's right.
I'm not sure if it got picked up there or just before there, but I mean, it has a release.
Nice.
Like it's going to get released and everything. So yeah.
Congrats to Michael. That's badass, man.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Like through like that we have like we got to all hang out with Michael in our respective festival runs. He's just like an omnipresence this year. So good for him, man. I'm excited to see his stuff hit.
We're not stalking him.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Maybe
well, we're not stalking him.
Yeah, I think one of the big things about that too, and we've covered several of their films on this movie, like Synchronic, and I know we covered what else did we cover
Benson
up there?
and Moorhead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Benson and Moorhead. I had found out. I guess Michael edited all of their films, which is how he knew them.
Oh no shit!
Yeah, so all those movies that we said were garbage and created. No, I'm just.
Who edited this piece of shit?
Oh man, this movie would have been great if it would have been edited different. But no, he edited all their films, and so when he went to go make his own film, they kind of like helped him out, and so that's why they kind of feel similar too. So his movie definitely feels kind of like a Benson and Moorhead type of film if you enjoy their filmmaking style, but it's because he's worked so closely with them and edited all their films, so it's got that flair to it. So I would say it's consistent with that type of like catalog if you really like their films.
Totally. The Endless, we reviewed that, and Synchronic. And then Spring with Caitlin over on Plug It Up recently, we did that too. So if you're into their stuff, you'll very much enjoy. Things will be different if you're into that vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently they did a movie during COVID as well, which I didn't see, and he's in that movie. He plays himself in that movie. I think it's called Resolution or something. So yeah, I need to check that out.
Resolution was the first movie they did. Something in the Dirt, I think, is
Something in the Dirt.
COVID one.
That's it. Yeah.
Cool. I got to watch that then. Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I got to go to an event. So every year they do like a Korean feature of someone who's been kind of like in the Korean film industry for a while. So this year it was an actress named Son Ye-jin. And so she did kind of like a talk. Last year it was Chae Min-sik who plays Old Boy. So this year it was Son Ye-jin. And she's in a lot of like romantic films here in Korea, but some of them are kind of like darker themed, I guess, but not a lot of horror. But yeah, she gave a good little talk. It was fun. And then last year I saw a movie called Her Hobby, and I think it got picked up here for some like distribution, so they were re-showing it again but this time I got to do they did a Q&A with the director and the main actors in this film, so I got to film that, so that was a lot of cool. So I'm hoping that'll give people a chance to see that movie, as one I was like really praising a lot last year. So, and I got to show Michael. So I was like, Michael, come see this good Korean film.
Michael, let me lead you down this path.
Meet me in the dark alley.
I saw another new film called New Life. And this is a film by John Rossman. And I actually got to hang out and meet John as well and drink a little bit. And this was a good movie too. I don't know if it's picked up yet or not. I can't remember. We drank a lot, so I can't remember what we discussed fully, but
this is how inroads are made, kids.
Through alcoholism.
Journalism.
Yeah, but
your liver may hate you, but your networking will thank you.
But
your
no,
LinkedIn is stacked.
This is a really good film, and the thing is I don't want to talk too much about it because it's got an element to it that is not twist, but it's just, it starts off and it's it's this woman, and she's kind of running for her life from these maybe potential agents, people with guns that look kind of official. So she's kind of running away. You don't really know why, and you follow her, and this kind of the story kind of starts to unravel. You get some background, but then there's also an agent that you're following from her perspective too, and she's been recently diagnosed with ALS, the disease that kind of like takes over your body. You can't move your body anymore.
I'm not sure which one.
So okay, but anyway, so it's got two interesting perspectives, and
I think that's ALS.
Yeah,
Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah, Lou Gehrig. Yep. And so it's got a lot of heart, but it leads to a very interesting place, like where you're not really sure. So you start in this kind of like mysterious spot. The movie is really fun to follow along with because it just kind of keeps you guessing where's it going, and then ultimately it pays off in a really, I think, heartfelt way, or just a type of film that's just got a lot of heart to it, but it's got a lot of dark elements too that I can't talk about because it would spoil some shit. So I would recommend anyone check that out if you get an opportunity, and I would highly anticipate that one, if it hasn't been picked up yet, being picked up and being widely distributed, because it's that kind of, like, I think it's a very accessible film, but it's got some really cool elements to it. So yeah. I also so some of the final things we did too is we mentioned this at Overlook, but I saw Oddity, which is I think by the time this is being released will be in theaters in the US. And I also got to speak with the director Damien McCarthy, who's an Irish director. This is his second film. He did Caveat in 2020, I believe. And yeah, I think this is going to be a sneaky hit for the horror crowds in 2024. This is like one of like the better horror films I've seen, like from this year, like talking about like wide distribution, like go into the theaters and see. Like I think this one's like sneaky hit. It kind of reminds me a little, in a different way, but like how last year I was like, "Whoa, Late Night with the Devil." I'm anticipating people getting to see this, and watching it and stuff. So yeah. So what did you guys think about Oddity?
It's
man,
great. It's I did see a trailer in front of Long Legs this past weekend.
Good.
And,
did you?
Yeah, they had a trailer. They show too much per usual. It's not as egregious as a lot of them are, but like still they show too much. Yeah. So if you guys are listening to this and have avoided a trailer, just go see it. It's a really great straight ahead horror movie. You're gonna like it. Just go in as blind as possible. Yeah, it's. What a delight, It won the audience award at the Overlook Film Festival. And yeah, I agree, man. I think if you're a horror head, you're going to enjoy it for sure.
That was like, I'm pretty sure that when we were doing our Overlook wrap up, the sort of the thing that we landed on is that it was probably the most straight ahead horror of the bunch. Like they're not a whole lot of genre additives to it, man. It's pretty uncut Colombian horror film in there. So
100%.
Yeah, quite worth your time. I think anybody listening to us right now would probably get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Randy. Yeah, because I was looking at my list and like this and Azrael, but even Azrael has, it is horror.
It's got a little bit of a gimmick, is maybe a little dismissive, but it's and it does have action. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as just like,
but this has like horror iconography.
Film.
Yeah. It's got like similar to like how Talk to Me had its hand or whatever. Yeah. It's got like iconography in it like that.
It does, yeah.
Which is nice.
It's got a thing that we can't talk about, but I think it makes this film very unique, and it represents a like fun subgenre, which I talk about with Damien in our interview. But also, like you said with the hand, I think it's something that will kind of like live on in the horror realm of like, that's from Oddity.
Yeah, it's gonna have fan art. I'm just gonna tell you that much.
Weird porn parodies and
well, it's fiction, so of course there will be porn. The internet exists for that purpose, as I understand it.
Speaking of porn, I met some guys named Thunderlips.
Do they live up to the name?
Well, I wanted to bring them up because they won the short award. I met them at the opening ceremony and got to talk with them for a long time afterwards. We also drank a lot together. And yeah, shouts outs to them for their award. And they had a 20-minute short. And you guys got to see that, right? Didn't you? Because they offered it online. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was quite funny. I found it quite funny. What did you guys think about it?
Yeah, I got a huge kick out of it. It reminded me of like some early Peter Jackson kind of stuff with the splat stick vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I was all about it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, Peter Jackson was the first thing that came to my mind too, and it's not just the accents, I promise, but like, yeah, it hit this like very silly, like half trauma, splattery sort of thing going. It was really fun, and like the performances in it were pretty great, comedic performances. Yeah. I think the lead woman in that really sold her position in that short really, really well in particular. But yeah, like, I don't know, like it's a bright, colorful, silly, slapsticky, and just a goopy little horror short that's worth your time.
Demands your attention when it's on. You can't look away. It's
the perfect kind of short because it's like if this tried to extend into a full movie, it would be probably too much.
It's called
Help. At least in its current form.
It's called Help, I'm Alien Pregnant. Yeah, I do. I did want to. It's called Help, Alien, I'm Pregnant, but it's also really funny because if you pull it up on BFON, they always put like little subcategories, like things you can expect from this. So one of them, it says like aliens, and they have like little icons of little fun icons. So you got aliens, comedy, and then full frontal. It's got this like little dick icon, which is awesome.
I don't like the look of it.
But yeah, there's some alien dick in this short, straight up.
That's
which
true.
Is
yeah,
pretty funny.
That is so accurate. Like it sounds like a joke. It is not.
We're hunting alien dick.
But so they were telling me even before they won. So I'm assuming like with the award, they got some additional funding and maybe some distribution stuff going on in Korea. But they were already telling me that they were planning to shoot a full feature length version of this or something similar to this, starting in October.
They're going to prove me wrong, I suppose.
Yes. So
Randy,
I just feel like it's a bottle sort of movie as well. So, well, I guess if they like, maybe I'm thinking of it too myopically in that way. Maybe it'll be branched out from that point. But it's a funny fucking thing. If they can make it work on a feature length, I'd be psyched.
Working on a feature length. They were saying that a lot of their history was in music videos, which I would also be curious.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It does have sort of a Daniels sort of feel to it.
Mick G vibe.
Yeah. They were very unique people. A lot of fun, like great people. I enjoyed hanging out with them a lot, but also they have their own vibe for sure. So good for them.
Oh, she's a fancy flapjack.
The only other thing it was interesting because at the time I went, this whole theme this year of BFON was kind of based around AI, and for the first time ever they had like an AI section for films that were created with AI, all shorts created with AI. And I got to go when I was hanging out with John and Michael and like John's producer Justin and like just some creators in the industry. We all went to this AI like convention where they were talking about the people making the
popcorn and tomatoes at it or what? Like,
they were saying like this is the first. They were mentioning like this is the first festival that has approached AI with any kind of like positive light.
Yeah.
Like that's brought it to the forefront, that's had like people talking about it as a tool, that's and stuff like that. And they had the people who were like creating some of the shorts up there talking about it. They did things like just talking about all the different tools that are in the industry, like where it could go in the future and like what it means for filmmakers and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I kind of wanted to like, I know it's like still a touchy subject, but it was interesting to have a room full of industry people, creators. Like this could take our, Michael's an editor, this could like take our jobs or something, but like to have it presented in a way where like people could openly discuss it and have different like perspectives on it. So yeah, I kind of wanted to, I guess, applaud them in that way of just like at least like opening the door for discussing like this kind of subject in a professional kind of way. So yeah, it was interesting to hear their perspectives.
At South by Southwest this past year, they had some sort of AI featurette or something before a big screening. It wasn't like a whole thing, and they weren't like it wasn't what Bucheon did, but the reaction to that was hostile as fuck.
Really?
Where like people were like booing the fuck out of it as it was playing. So yeah, like I kind of half anticipated that, but I understand like. It's Korean culture is probably a little more subdued in terms of its disapprovals like that, I guess. I don't know. Like it just seems like that's a very American response to something we don't like. Is be loud. Yeah.
It could be. We were also discussing it a little bit, and I don't really know. But I mean, so as a teacher, a lot of like my students view AI in a very positive light because it helps them a lot. I mean, if you are Korean and you constantly have to use write English emails every day, you're working in some international company, well, that like helps you a lot. Like even if like you're capable of English and understanding English, like making it professional, making it courteous, giving it some sort of tone. And so I don't know if there's like a potential like cultural perception of it that's like different in that way, where it's like seen more as like a helpful tool as opposed to like an intrusive thing. But it was interesting, not to say that like it was all roses and everything, but it was just interesting to have those discussions, to have that kind of like opened up and hear people talking about it as a filmmaking tool and what it might look like and stuff like that. So yeah.
There's a whole lot of facets to that. I myself am a bit of a hater, but
yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to the discussion that we won't get into here. But
what an American!
It is interesting.
Let's get into it.
Let's solve the AI question right here and now. You guys got 6 hours.
I am, prepared to talk about that in a very detailed, professional way.
Oh, I know it, buddy. We all assumed that of you.
That's why we came here. That's why we showed up.
I promise. I promise.
Cool. Randy, what screeners did you catch for this?
I actually got more than I thought, just because it's been crazy busy, and I've been really, really trying to get some of these under my belt. 2 of them I had already seen, or 3 of them, I suppose. One of them wasn't a screener, but Azrael, and then Oddity, and also Cuckoo was one that they had at this festival that we saw at Overlook. And I enjoyed those movies quite a bit. As far as things that I had not seen before, the first one I watched was called Doombung the Puddle, is what it's listed as. I couldn't find it anywhere but on Bucheon's website and like a couple other blog posts or whatever.
It's Korean, right?
It is a Korean film. It's an anthology about a doombung, which I guess is a pond or it's like kind of a small fishing spot is how it's kind of portrayed in the film anyway. That is malicious in some way, and all there are 3 stories. All 3 of them center around some different angle of this body of water, and how it sort of black mirrors some folks in this movie.
Okay. You got black
there's
mirror,
a guy who's fishing, who's disrupted by some other guy, and it just kind of spirals out of control from there. There's one where like a guy, I can't remember the exact specifics, but somehow it has to do with technology, and like he starts like storing information in his own like from his computer into his own brain or something along those lines. like wild shit like that. And it's pretty cool, like little anthology thing. I would say that like it's a little bit like it's more consistent in its tone than most anthologies. It feels like it was made by the same person rather than what you see with like a lot of VHS shorts and things like that, which can be hit or miss because they're all coming from sort of like the same prompt, different creators. But this is the same prompt, same creator. I think, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was not groundbreaking to me in any way, really, but I did enjoy myself quite a bit with some of those stories, and it mostly hung together nicely. It didn't bother with a wraparound really, which was kind of refreshing, honestly, to not have to like critique it on that level. It's just sort of like, here's a few stories, and you know what the through line is, and they all feel somewhat tonally consistent with each other. So yeah, it hangs together well.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's nice to hear some. Sounds like it's like horror driven too, like specifically.
Oh yeah, it is definitely like horror sci-fi sort of stuff, genre stuff. But I don't know. I think you just kind of got to watch it. I don't have the words to really describe it. It's just a pretty good little anthology with nice little short stories in there.
It's all in English on the BFON website, or like the English website at least. So I was like trying to translate it to, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the word doombung, and I'm not like really sure like
I'll be honest with you,
spell it in Korean.
How to spell it in English is what got me to click it first. I was like, doombung. So I'm a simple man and with a very small brain, and I loved that. It's like, well, this is screaming my name.
I'm sure the American audience right there.
Yeah. I also watched a movie called Tenement, which is Cambodian, I want to say. At least the main character is Cambodian, and her husband or boyfriend are Japanese. They go back to Cambodia to visit her roots, which she doesn't have a lot of she doesn't have any family left. She finds an old photo in her mom's things and some tapes that her mom listened to, and it's like, oh, this apparently I have an aunt. This says Aunt blah 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 and Aunt blah 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 with my mom. Oh, I don't really remember this building. So she goes back to the building. It's a big tenement building filled with people, and you might imagine shit spirals out of control. It's got a little bit of a Rosemary's Baby writ Asian feeling to it, but yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It felt like a pretty good whole complete story to me, which I guess was like a nice change after seeing an anthology and seeing some shorts to kind of kick things off. So I don't know, I think it worked nicely. The performances were good. I would generally recommend it. I had a good time with it. What else?
Yeah, it was it is Cambodian. Yeah, I was
Cambodian. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have here listed as the directors Neth Inraisathaip and Che Sukyu. I think. I'm so sorry.
What's your profanity?
Yeah. So I just wanted to. I'm trying to. I want to call out the directors of these things. I just don't think that I can do it properly. Anyway, so I also got a chance to watch That Help I'm Alien Pregnant short, which was a lot of fun. I watched. This was not a short, but it was only like an hour long. It's a movie called City of Oz by Sadiq Ahmed. And where was this filmed? I can't remember.
I'll look it up.
Thank you. I want to say it's somewhere in the Middle East. But this is a movie that it starts off with a sort of a line about how it was made, and it was made over the course of 3 days and kind of written on the fly. So it has that feeling to it. It's experimental feeling. It starts off with a kid who's lost and he's doing voiceover, and it sort of jumps from perspective character to perspective character, and they all kind of intertwine a little bit. It seems very disjointed for a long time, but they all kind of converge somewhat seamlessly by the end. It's pretty impressive for the approach they took with this. This was not hyper planned out by any means, and it's low budget. I don't know, it shows some. It could use some sanding, you know what I mean? But I enjoyed it for sort of like the audacity of making something so quickly and on the fly and just sort of like rolling with it. It felt like a labor of love, you know what I mean? As a lot of these films at festivals do. So I enjoyed it, and also because it is short, it doesn't like outstay its welcome or anything too badly. I think that it's just like it suffers from the very conceit of making a film in that way. And there's not a whole lot you can do about that, but I respect the craft of it. It's just, as a film, it's not a complete film, really. Like, at least not in a way that most people recognize them.
Or no?
It's not quite as short because it is about an hour long.
Oh, okay. How is Oz
It is a short
spelled?
film.
OZ?
OZ, yeah. City of Oz,
it's not showing up on the...
It's on IMDb. Yeah, it's a horror. I'll just read the synopsis. In the heart of deranged city named Oz, young boy named Tenju finds himself hopelessly lost one fateful night. With nothing but dimly lit labyrinthine streets as his guide, he embarks on a quest to reunite with his mother. And this is one of those sort of like, it's dream logic-y, it's strange, it's got crazy like wide angles sometimes and point of view shots. It jumps from perspective to perspective, both narratively and cinematography. Cinematography.
Yeah, nailed it.
With the picture gets all perspective.
The picture's good.
It's good picture. Yeah. Anyway, I've talked about this enough. I think
cinema talk is good.
I think it's cool. It's a really cool thing that they did, and I approve. I did watch two more films. One was called Dark My Light, which was directed by Neil Dond. And this was one that was led by an actor that I remember being really impressed with in the show Mindhunter. Yeah, so Dark My Light is a very confusing story. It's in the same sort of like realm as a Benson and Moorhead, I would say, in terms of it being sort of sci-fi, but moody and dramatic and sort of like paced intentionally and things like that. Sort of quiet dreadfulness in some ways. And it has this lead actor named Albert Jones, who was Albert Jones, who plays a guy named Mitchell Morse as a detective, a homicide detective in Florida, I think somewhere in the Keys area. And his new partner from Jacksonville comes into town.
Whoa!
And
it's me.
Bob, you know him? Do you know this fictional character? And he's having trouble with his wife and whatever. And it just I don't want to say too much because like the very conceit of it is interesting to watch play out. It's a confusing fucking movie. It's a bit of a puzzle box for sure. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I wasn't sure I wasn't sure it had any sort of cohesiveness at all until, or logic to it until it started getting towards the end. And even there, I'm still like pretty baffled by some of it, but the performances are fucking great. In a lot of places, and they really use the shit out of their filming locations. They do a good job with it. It looks good, if a little drab, but drab kind of fits. So I liked it. By the end. In the middle, I was not so sold on it. Like by midway, I was like, I don't know, man. It started off kind of strong, then it went off the rails. It kind of comes back to a point a little bit at the end, though. So great performances is really what carried me through that one. And then the last one is the one that I probably liked the best out of things I've seen new at BFON this year. And that is this movie called Strange Darling by J.T. Molnar. And this features Willa Fitzgerald, who I recognized first as the younger version of, in the Fall of the House of Usher, the younger version of the elder female statesman of the company. I can't remember the character's name, but she's the one that that ultimately works out this deal or whatever that happens in that show. Anyway, she does a great job. Also, Kyle Gallner is in this, who I recognized from Smile as being sort of like a supporting character in that. The last character you see on screen, I believe, in that movie. And they both kind of kill it. Also, Ed Begley Jr. shows up all of a sudden with Barbara Hershey, who's the mom, the grandmom rather, from Insidious, the Insidious franchise. Like relatively big names going on in this and stuff. And this is a fucking crazy movie. It is a time twisting sort of thing. It's in 6 parts, but they're played out of order. And I think it starts with part 3, and it gives a little title.
Jesus Christ.
For the part. Then part 5, and then part one, and like it recontextualizes itself a bunch of different times. It was like, I don't know, it was almost too much. And I think there's even an argument maybe that this movie is a little bit of a conservative wet dream in a certain way, but in order to explain that, I would have to ruin it. And I don't want to ruin it because it is a fun movie to watch, man. I had a good time watching this thing. It's got some of that action element to it for sure. There's a lot of cool set pieces. Ed Begley Jr. makes like the most fucking delicious looking breakfast I've ever seen on film in this movie. Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. I think that it's again. And also Steve Gomez from Breaking Bad is in it all of a sudden at one point. Yeah, it's just got some people in it, man, and it's I liked it quite a lot as an experience. Yeah, I'm gonna have to prod at what it's getting at as a story, but
maybe we'll cover it later.
Maybe we will. I think it's worth people's time, man. I had a good time with this one. Strange Darling. There was nothing I saw that I was like, this sucks top to bottom.
I did. Let me tell you what it is.
Yeah. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't tell you because I would feel bad and I don't want to feel bad. But
this Love Lies Bleeding really was Garden.
Anyway, yeah, Strange Darling, man. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think that's it for me. Bob, what was your list looking like this year?
So yeah, I've just got a couple to add. I ended up watching The Devil's Bath, and this is on Shudder currently, so it's gotten a release. If you are interested in seeing it, you can watch it there. This was written and directed by Severin Fiala and Veronica Franz, and it takes place in 18th century Austria. It kind of has a bit of a witch vibe, or Huesera vibe, the Bone Woman, if you guys have seen those. It's definitely a feminist film, but it is bleak in the way that like The Witch and Huesera are. So like you got to kind of be in the right mindset for just like to sit in like sadness for 2 hours. It's
my life, Bob.
Man,
just how I live my life.
Damn, dog. Sorry.
Justin's been talking about how busy he is all fucking month, and now we're hearing he's just sitting around looking
just sitting
sad.
in darkness and
sitting
sadness.
in sorrow.
God damn. Do they have Baker Act in Korea? What the fuck?
This young woman gets married at the beginning of the movie, and she wants to be this great wife and, you know, provide a child for her betrothed, and things don't go quite according to plan. Her new mother-in-law sort of inserts a negative influence into her life, and she really becomes like hella depressed. Things just like get bad fast and just keep getting worse. It's a very, very well assembled movie. The acting is great, and like I don't really have any critiques other than you just got to be ready for it because it's relentless. So check out The Devil's Bath. It's solid. I also watched Cuckoo, which I know we talked about this a little bit on our Overlook wrap-up episode, but this is finally getting a wide release early August, so I wanted to just touch on it briefly once more. This is, I believe Neon's putting this one out, and it is about a family that go up to this really remote hotel in the German Alps, and Dan Stevens plays the owner. He's this sort of eccentric German fellow, and he has some sort of hidden agendas, let's say, and it's super, super weird. I think if you are into Italian horror or just stuff that's like off the beaten path that might not be quite like anything you've seen before, I would recommend this one. It is bizarre as hell. There is a teaser trailer that was going around a couple months ago, which I think is kind of perfect because it tees up the tone and the vibe of the movie, but you really have no idea what it's about, which is the way to do it. There is a longer trailer that's been cut. Don't watch it. If you are interested in this movie, avoid it at all costs. There's like multiple reveals and scares in it. I hate the way they cut trailers, man. Definitely avoid it. Cuckoo's, it's worth your time though. It is bizarre. It's one of the weirdest movies I've seen all year, if not the weirdest, actually. Love some Dan Stevens. It's worth watching. And another movie that this is not horror at all, but they did have it at BFON. It's on Hulu. If you want to watch something that's sort of Tarantino-esque, Last Stop in Yuma County, check that one out. Bank robbers pull over at this gas station in the middle of the desert. They're running out of fuel. They're out of gas, waiting on the fuel truck to come. And then they just hold people hostage at this little diner. And
Nice.
there's a bunch of weird characters and weird shit happens. Check that one out on Hulu right now. You can do it. And that's pretty much all I've got. We talked about everything else that I'd seen. So that's, I don't know, 15 or so movies to keep an eye out for. A lot of good stuff at BFON yet again this year. And thanks to them for having us.
Yeah, and it's nice to know, like, some of the stuff, like, you can already check out. So, like, you know, some of these episodes, you're just like, well, I'll be waiting for 6 months until I can check. But no, I mean, there's at least 5 movies at this point, because Oddity, by the time this comes out, you'll be able to check out Oddity in theaters.
Yeah.
Go see that. 310 to Yuma, you can keep an eye out. Like, soon, before the end of the year, definitely Michael's film, Things Will Be Different, will be out, so you can check that out. So yeah, Devil's
Bath, and that's last stop in Yuma County, not 310 to Yuma.
Okay.
And also, we'll be dropping this, I believe, the week before Cuckoo gets its wide release. So it's coming right around the corner. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out and a lot of good stuff coming. So
yeah,
keep your eyes peeled for all that and let us know what you think. Yeah.
Apparently, that Strange Darling movie is set to release on August 23rd also.
Nice.
Okay. So a lot of these are like, you'll be seeing soon. So definitely keep an eye out for these.
So cool shit.
Awesome. Don't watch trailers. Just watch the movies.
Yeah.
And thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Hopefully you got some movies jotted down to check out in the near future. And until next time, as always, everybody, please keep chilling.
Whoa.